Hello and welcome to
Hey, we like your pod.
And we're going to tell you why. Hi, it's Dawn here, and I'm joined, as always, by my trusted partner, Matt Pickett. How you doing, Maddie?
Pretty good, Don. Pretty good. It's a weird time of the academic calendar for us. We're between semesters. There's this one weird week between the spring and summer semesters where the campus is dead. Nothing is happening, and all the students who are freaking out at the end of the semester are writing you weird emails. You got parents writing weird emails. It is a strange week. How are you doing?
I want an example of the weird emails. I am okay. The Bucks just lost.
Oh no, I didn't know that. I wasn't following it. Shoot.
So that's it for the Bucks this year.
Yeah,
it's been a weird season. They had a lot of injuries, going into the first playoffs. They were definitely a better team than the Pacers, but not without, some big injuries. So
that's a bummer.
Yeah, it's a bummer. But I'm not super surprised. It's just kind of just like, okay, the air's out of my balloon now. Because I was thinking maybe there'll be one more game. So, yeah. They changed coaches during the year. They had injury. It's just a lot this year.
It's a pretty unlucky season. And it seems like there's a lot of weird stuff happening, huh?
Yeah, for sure. So, so it's not like, okay, I expected them. But they were ranked so much higher than the Pacers because the best plays the least ranked, the highest ranked, until they get more competitive. So that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Sometimes, yeah.
So
I like cookies. You like cookies? I love cookies.
I do love cookies. I love cookies and cake.
What's your favorite kind of cookie?
I mean, I love just a good old-fashioned Toll House. But it has to be done just right. It has to be done right because I am really picky. Like, I don't like them crunchy.
No.
And I don't like store-bought cookies or anything like that. So they've got to have that chew factor.
Yeah. And still
the right
warm
amount
out of the
chips.
oven. It's amazing.
Yep. And the right amount of chips, not too many, not too little. Let's see. One of my friends in grade school, his mom used to make like a Toll House. I think it was a Toll House recipe, if I'm not mistaken, with a chocolate kiss in the middle. And those were good. Nice. If the kiss was warm, like and melty. If it was hot, I mean, they were good. So those are like, that's like the only variation of chocolate chip that I go for.
If the kiss is warm and melty, it would be good out of context if somebody wants to clip that. So
I love snickerdoodles. Are you familiar? And then I'm a big ginger, like a molasses cookie type of thing.
I love a good molasses cookie. Yeah, absolutely.
What are your faves? Those are kind of just the classics.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely hit all the classics for sure. If I were to add to that, I think as far as something like you would make at home, there's not much. But as far as like kind of store bought or whatever, I do like Girl Scout cookies. You got your Caramel Delights are good ones. There's these ones called Toast Yays that we hadn't had before this year. They're amazing. That's a good one. There's good ones. And both my kids are in Girl Scouts, so
that's right.
We're peddling cookies all over the place this year. So yeah.
Are you still?
No. Oh no. That season is past us. Fortunately, it's a lot of work. So I'm glad we're done with it. But the kids did well. Anyhow, what are we here to talk about today, Dawn?
Well, I do like a thin mint. I do like a thin mint and peppermint. Not peppermint patty. It's peanut butter. The peanut butter chocolate ones.
Yes, the peanut butter ones. Yes, they're so good.
So we had a draft. That was fun.
Yeah.
A week ago, we were recording our podcast with Jamie
Mhm.
during the first night of the draft, and it seems like a month ago.
It does. I know. Well, I think that's partially because, it was a real fire hose of content this last week because
Mhm.
everybody who does podcasts just during the season, everybody who does podcasts year round is talking about kind of the same thing, more or less, like let's unpack all the draft picks. And
Mhm.
so I was going to get into this later, but since I'm on the topic, Don, I'm just going to riff for a second. Okay. So, because there's a sameness to it, it's like on the one hand, I feel like I'm getting a lot of information and it's like it's accumulating and I'm learning a lot about the players. But on the other hand, it's like it's hard to tease out where I heard what, because
Ah,
like
right.
say like podcast A and podcast B, and this could be anything, pack a day and something on Tundra, Frozen Tundra Productions. What's it called? Frozen Tundra. The new IP
Industries?
packing
What did
company.
they call it? Was it
Frozen
industry
Tundra frequencies. Okay, so sorry guys,
frequencies?
I totally know who you are. So take like one from Packaday, one from them. 70% might be the same stuff, and it's great. And that's not to say anything bad about either of those. And
Right.
it's that other 30%. It's like where was that 30%? Which podcast was talking about that 30%? So
Mhm.
for me, for content right now, I feel like I'm just getting really waterlogged with that sort of the repetition part,
Mhm.
and for me, that's also makes it feel like the time is going, like it's taking up more time. Like you said, it feels like a month ago or whatever, right? Since the draft, it does. And I think it's because
Yeah.
all the repetition of the information I'm taking in, which is strange, but
Okay. Okay.
it makes sense. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
I was feeling that too. I was like, okay, this is just overwhelming. I think I'm just
Mm-hmm.
going to stick with whatever the Packers put out for the first week, at least to get
Mm-hmm.
to know the new players, the drafts. And I don't even know who the free agent, I mean, I heard who the free agent guys were, but I can't remember their names right now, but
Me neither.
I
Honestly,
just,
I
I
just
just
barely have the names of all the draft picks in my head, just
I
barely.
forgot to put them in. I just thought of this. I didn't put them in my spreadsheet either. So, and did
Mm.
you keep track this year? Did you keep track with your spreadsheet
Of
of
what?
picks, draft?
Oh no. Remember it's like the 53 man roster projections is the thing
Oh,
I did
okay.
the
It's not the
spreadsheet
draft.
with. So
Okay, okay,
oh, the draft
okay,
that'd be crazy to try to see like how close were you with your mock drafts? Like that'd be a lot. That'd be a lot.
okay, okay. Yeah.
But
So,
I have
yeah,
thought about doing it before. I will say, just always like that's a little
well,
overwhelming, but would be
yeah,
fun.
yeah. Well, or just pick like certain people, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So I got a little overwhelmed with it, and so the Bucks were in the playoffs, so I was paying attention a lot to that the last couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And the Mojo are going to be in the volleyball playoffs, so I've been watching those games along with
Nice.
other games because
Mm-hmm.
I. It's like, okay, I'm really hooked because I'm not just watching the Mojo now, I'm watching other teams. So I'm getting to know all these teams. It's not a huge league, it's just the first year of this
Mm-hmm.
volleyball league. So that's taken my mind off of that overwhelm of yeah, and then there are two trials going on. I'm trying to watch those
Oh my
simultaneously, so
goodness.
always got something to put in my brain and learn about. It's
There's
great.
a lot to consume. It's like an overwhelming feast, a giant Thanksgiving that you are just sitting at for a week plus.
A couple weeks, yeah. In
Yeah.
fact, both trials that I've been watching, one is going to be projected to be 8 to 10 weeks long, and the other one is 6 weeks.
Yeah. Well,
So
weeks to devote.
yeah. So it's like a football, not a football season, but yeah, like a short. Not the what's the other football league that plays now that when the NFL isn't playing? I forget the.
Oh, yeah. You think I would
Yeah,
know,
it's
but
like
I don't
them
really follow them. So spring
because I
ball. It's like spring
yeah, it's
ball.
like spring ball. It's like a quick yeah. Anyway, so that's cool. So yeah, so my superlatives are a little bit offbeat because of that, somewhat.
Do you want to get into them? Should we launch into
Let's
superlatives? What do you think?
go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you said yours are offbeat. I would love for you to start us off then.
Okay, and let's say hello to Lorenzo and hello to Joe in the
Hey guys.
chat. Nice to see you
Good to
guys.
see you guys.
Okay, I've touched on this. Okay, I'm going to give you two.
Okay.
because they're
You,
kind of
you
like,
got 3 total? Is that right?
yeah,
All right,
I
go for it.
actually, yeah. So I'm not sure how to say this, but I've got best sister text and most familial. So,
All right.
yeah. So I've touched on this before about how, I'll be watching tennis or something, and then they'll mention, oh, this player's father was in the NFL.
Mhm.
And same with volleyball. This player's father was in the NFL, or the Major League Base MLB, Major League
Baseball?
Baseball, or something like that.
Mhm.
And so I didn't finish my research, but I started kind of looking into this. I found one article. It was from the Post game, and it's kind of cool. It's father, sons, daughters, different professional sports.
Okay.
So, where did it go? Oh, here it is. Sorry. It's like right here in front of me. I just said what it was. Okay. So let me just grab it for you. And there's like, I want to say about 30-ish, 25 to 30. I'm not going to go through all of those, but of course, we have the Mannings, but
Mhm.
that's all football.
Go
There's a
football.
lot of NBA, but it's like NBA to baseball,
Mhm.
um, wrestling to football. It makes sense. We've got one that's basketball to hockey.
Yeah.
Jared Goff's dad was in the major leagues baseball. Did you know
Oh, I
that?
didn't know that. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Jerry Goff. And let's see, a couple tennis players. Some of the tennis players going both ways. So Yannick, I don't know if you remember. Wow, do you watch tennis at all?
No.
Yeah, Yannick Noah, a French player, and then his son ends up being Joachim Noah in the NBA.
Oh, how about that?
I know. But I'm scrolling. I'm scrolling. There's more. There's more. I'm going to scroll to the best ones. Okay. And I think hopefully I didn't, but if I mentioned this before, it's worth mentioning again. Julius Irving, of course, basketball player,
Mhm.
Dr.
Right.
J. Um, his daughter is Alexandra Stevenson, and also known as, whoops, one of my favorite players, female players, tennis. And then we have, I'm sorry, I'm continuing to scroll. And then we have John Stevens from the NFL,
Mhm.
who is Sloane Stevens' dad.
Oh, really? Huh.
Mm-hmm. I love Sloane.
Mhm.
Love Sloane. So there's more. There's more and more and more. So then the other reason I'm sort of paying attention a lot to this is because I'm watching the volleyball games, and we know
Mhm.
that Ronica Stone is one of my favorite, obviously,
Mhm.
volleyball players, and her dad was Ron Stone from the NFL. But then there's also Tori Dixon. She plays for the Omaha Supernova volleyball team, and her father is David Dixon, also NFL.
Oh, how about that?
So I know I just think it's really cool. And then and doing all this research, blah blah blah. I know this is probably really boring to people, but I
No,
think
it's interesting, I think. I like it.
it's not just physical attributes, like, okay,
Mhm.
they're athletic, but they probably love sports, but it's probably a mindset. Like
Yeah.
when you play a professional sport or when you do anything at a super high level, there's certain expectations of you and a certain mindset that you have to have
Mhm.
in order to not just achieve, but maintain success at that level. And so I just think it's interesting to study these families a little bit. And it makes total sense that a professional sport athlete
Mhm.
would spawn a professional athlete. It's
Yeah.
probably not. It's not like a big surprise. So I just think it's cool, though. So also, I don't know if I remembered this. The last thing on volleyball, I promise. I'm just so into it right now.
for this week.
I don't know if I mentioned this, but Joe Burrow is one of the founders of the Pro Volleyball Federation that has brought women's professional volleyball to us this year. Did you know
What?
that?
No, I had no
Yeah.
idea. That's a cool
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah. Fun fact. So there's another NFL connection. Not only Burrow, but his parents are founding members of the Pro Volleyball Federation, which puts on all of these games that I've been talking about.
Yeah.
And then there's one more. Who was it? There was one other player that jumped in on the ownership. Trent Dilfer
Mm-hmm.
was a former NFL quarterback and Super Bowl champion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Well, he jumped in on the ownership of the Volleyball Federation as well.
Oh, nice.
So
That's
it's
cool.
like all NFL backed financially. I had no idea. I just thought that was a cool little fun fact. You know, when we're not playing, you know, we don't have football to watch and we're done with the draft. You know, I'm just having fun digging into that. So, yeah. So, and
I love that idea. Sorry to interrupt. I love that idea of like people making a lot of money in sports, but then like kind of giving back into the world of sports and like helping other athletes in sports to have a chance to grow and become popular. Like that's really cool. I like that.
Absolutely. And there was a really nice write-up in and I didn't tell you my source on that, sorry, in Volleyball Mag. It's Volleyball Magazine, obviously, MAG.com, about why Joe Burrow did that and some of their statements. And he said, my family and I are thrilled to put our support behind this great opportunity, right? That's the key word for world-class volleyball athletes, Joe Burrow said. And he said, no one ever achieves greatness without first being provided an opportunity.
Yes.
So, yeah, Pro Volleyball Federation is opening the door. And it is so exciting to see a league develop in their very first year and to have a team in your city. So, I mean, that's why I'm blah, blah, blah about it. And also related to family, that was kind of a long superlative with several different sources, but quickie, just a fun text I got from my sister right before the show.
Lori? From your sister Lori?
My sister Lori.
Shout out, Lori, we love you.
We love Lori. She says, 2 Packer items, because we were talking about the Bucks. Today is the deadline for Eric Stokes, and AJ Dillon is transitioning to fullback. She says, I like this. Power back, short yard situations. She should be a writer, like little, you know,
there you go.
She knows so much, and I like it too. That is, did you hear that news?
That today was the last day for Eric Stokes to get extended for a 5th year. I heard that, and they didn't exercise the 5th year option for him. Right. I heard that like there's talk of maybe AJ Dillon doing something like that. The last I heard, I was like, this could be a thing, maybe, but I haven't heard if anything official was declared about it.
Right.
That's the way how Alex Magoo is listed as a wide receiver now on the Packers website. That's a weird one. So I don't know. I wasn't sure if something more official like that or not, though.
I can't remember if I looked up her source. I'll check in a second. Also weird to have your quarterback become a return runner.
Yeah. He's gonna get killed out there.
Yeah, if you're not sure who we're talking about the former quarterback for the Chicago Bears, whose name I already just forgot.
Justin Fields with the Steelers.
Justin Fields is reported by the Bleacher Report, so it's somewhat credible. That he's going to be returning balls. That is one of the most dangerous things in the game, I think. Yeah. Like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Well,
at least it'd be less dangerous, hopefully, with the new setup for that, because it's not exactly people running full speed into each other and like smashing into each other. Justin Fields is very shifty, though I could see him kind of like, you know, getting around people like a little pinball. So maybe it makes sense. But also, like, if he's potentially a viable quarterback, you know, potentially QB1, if you can overtake Russell Wilson, it seems like, well, that's playing fast and loose with a major asset, I guess, you guys. But
very weird. I mean, did he play running back at one point? I
I don't
think
know.
there was talk
He
of
plays
him being
quarterback
like,
like he's a running back, but so I don't know.
I mean, not for the Bear, but like in college or maybe high
Yeah, yeah,
school.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. Joe
So
can fact check that.
Iowa Joe. Speaking of the draft,
Oh, Joe's giving me a hard time over there. That's what's happening.
Joe's giving me a hard time. Listen, Joe, here's my strategy. um, I did show I was in your chat boosting up your algorithms, right?
There you go. Yep,
Because I wouldn't have
true.
been boosting your algorithms if I was on the screen with you. So,
Yeah, totally intentional. Absolutely.
yeah. And even when I skipped away to watch, was there a volleyball game? I think there was also a volleyball game on that night or basketball. I can't remember. I kept it rolling,
Yeah,
kept it rolling.
there
So
you go.
YouTube, you got your views through the whole show.
That's right.
And I popped in and out. I think I popped back in right after you left, Maddie, because people were just
Ah,
saying bye to Maddie. So that's
that's me.
I was there with you in my heart, and I had a lot. I have a lot of reasons not to be there on the screen. So anyway, yeah. So this is really cool. Well, just Stokes. So I read an article about that from Packers Wire, and it
Mhm,
just basically the summary was that because Stokes is entering the final year of his rookie contract, he
mhm.
can still earn a contract with the
Yeah.
Packers,
Yes.
but he just won't have that fifth year option safety net. And
Exactly. This is a
it
year for him to
saves
make money or not.
right, and that saves them like $12 million because he did have a lot of injuries. He wasn't playing a lot, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
Makes sense to me.
I agree.
So those are my muy familiar um, superlatives. What do you have? In fact, that might have been all three of them at this point. So there we go. What do you have for us this week,
Yeah.
Maddie?
Well, I'll do my first two, and if you realize you had a different third one or something, jump in after my first two because they
Okay.
kind of go together. They're
Okay.
both varieties of deep dives. So my first one is
Okay.
best deep dive Packers, and so this one is a podcast, Draft Talk, which is kind of the new one that Tyler Brook is doing. It's new slash not new.
Mm.
He was kind of doing it before, and then it was a whole thing with flipping over to the Frozen Tundra frequencies. But so Tyler Brook did an episode with Owen Reese, who is a draft expert, who is an O-line coach somewhere. And so it was a really awesome deep dive into like the people who the Packers picked up and like what their strengths and weaknesses are. The O-line players, that is, the Packers picked up, their strengths and weaknesses, how they might fit with the rest of the line. It was really cool to hear like the sort of in-depth information and knowledge that Owen Reese has talking about how this is going to fit together and the kind of things we might expect to see, especially from the new guys, and how they might switch around the old guys and stuff to make it work for the best five out there. So not only do you have like all of Owen Reese's sizable amount of knowledge and insight, but you also had Tyler, who's a really good show host, kept things rolling, asking good questions, and just a really fun conversation to listen to. So
Nice.
because there's so much to like learn about the new players and so much to dig
Oh,
into, taking like this approach of like, let's talk about this one position group and see
right.
what talking to an expert, what can we glean from that. And so I thought that was
Oh,
really
I like that.
really helpful. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I like that because honestly, and I didn't say this in the beginning. How am because I just got over watching the Bucks game,
Mhm.
but before the Bucks game and this whole last week, I'm like, we have we have 11 picks. I mean, I'm giddy. I'm giddy about all of this and excited and yeah. So, but it is somewhat overwhelming. So, but I do like the
Mhm.
idea of taking the group like that. That's really
Yeah,
instead of just one player in isolation.
which
Yeah,
isn't
it's really
bad. Nothing against that. Like
nothing
for instance,
against anything.
like the ones that like Andy Herman's doing right now, they're starting up. Like those are
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
They're great.
yeah.
But yeah, to kind of help it make more sense. I
To
think
bring it
partially
together.
too, like if you're familiar with Myers-Briggs, there's like the one of the two dichotomies, and they're actually all like scales, like flows, like spectrums, and not really dichotomies, but of
Mm,
intuitor versus what is it? Intuitor versus sensor versus intuitor. So people who are better with like small details and build to like larger um comprehension and knowledge, like piece by piece, versus people who like start from the big picture and understand better connections and see like more like the forest than the trees. I'm more like
hmm.
the second person, so hearing something that's like bringing things together
Right.
helps me to understand it better than starting from like each player
Right.
individually. But yeah, I hadn't realized that till we started talking about it here, Don. Like, I think that's part of the reason why that appealed to me so much, and it was
Right.
great. Would
And
recommend it.
same here. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm more of a big picture person.
Yeah,
Thinker. I like it, Maddie. Good find. Good find.
yeah. So my second one, then, as I mentioned, also a deep dive superlative. This is just best deep dive non-Packers, and so Jordan Rodriguez, who writes for the Athletic, has a two-part article out there. The first part's out now as we're speaking on Thursday. The second part, I think, will be out by Saturday when this hits the podcast platforms. But regardless, Jordan is writing an article, two-part article, saying "Finding Rams: 1 year behind the scenes of the NFL draft scouting process." So this is
Hmm.
like stuff that you would never know about, that you wonder about. The other thing, like what is it like to be, a scout for a team, being on the road. I'm trying to find these players, trying to find these hidden gems out there. Like, what is this life like? It's kind of mysterious, I think, to people who've obviously never done it or never like seen somebody doing it.
Hmm.
So it's just a really interesting glimpse into it, a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And Jordan's a fantastic writer. So really enjoying that first one. I can't wait for the second part to come out. Not sure if it's gonna be like tomorrow or next week, but like just I can't wait to read the rest of it. So that's really good stuff. That's another good example of like the work that Jordan does is worth the price of a membership to the Athletic alone. But there's so much other good stuff, like Matt Schneidman obviously writing for them,
Hmm.
among others, stuff that Robert Mays, Nate Tice do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that's a good one. That's worth reading.
Cool, cool. Wouldn't it be kind of neat if there was of course it would never ever happen, but what do they call that show with when they do every year one team?
Oh, like Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks draft version.
Ooh, that might be interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be a very different flavor than like what the Hard Knocks regular seasons are like, but it would be very fascinating. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd watch
totally. I
that.
mean, it'd be kind of a good movie or a fictional, too.
like Draft Day,
Uh-huh.
Kevin Costner. If you can make it more factual, even remotely more factual, that'd be great. But yeah,
R-
no, I mean,
Yeah, but I mean, like what the GMs are doing in the draft room and all that.
yeah,
Was
yeah,
there a movie like that?
yeah,
Draft?
Draft Day. Yeah, Kevin Costner.
No.
Yes, that's
Oh,
what that movie is kind of about.
I'll have to check that.
Very, very dramatized and pretty silly. But yeah, no,
Oh,
you should watch it, Don. It's a terrible movie. It's wonderful. You should
oh, yeah,
definitely see it.
terrible, wonderfully.
Absolutely.
So those were all my superlatives in there,
Oh, okay. All
all
right.
mixed up in there
All
because I
together.
added the Eric Stokes thing.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Well, I've got a third one then.
Yeah.
And so
Shoot it.
you've had the fraternizing with the enemy series in the past. So this is
Yes.
kind of biting your style a little bit, I realize. But this one is best non-Packers dude. So I've sort of like struck up a
Mhm.
friendship with a Vikings fan. Unconventional move, I realize, but he also lives in Cincinnati. We kind of actually met through Twitter. We'll have to get together at some point. This
Okay.
dude goes by the name the Brohioan, and very funny guy. Um, is self-effacing enough to be tolerable as a rival sports fan. I hear you, Joe. I hear you, man. You should follow the Brohioan. He's a really funny guy. And so this week he wrote an article for some Minnesota Vikings fan site. I'm not familiar with their stuff, of course, but
Right.
so he like wrote an article about himself and his fandom. It's called "Meet the Brohioan: Settling for JJ McCarthy was a Minnesota Vikings home run." But so like I know this guy from Twitter, and have had a lot of good interactions with him, and had no idea he could write. Like it was really fun read. And just learning more about him and his background, how you become a Vikings fan living in Ohio, because he'd never lived in like the Twin Cities, never lived even in the
Right.
Midwest. So it's like, how does that happen? Kind of going through that. Yeah, really interesting read, and definitely a worthy follow. It's like there are those people out there from other like rival fan bases that are a lot of fun to sort of interact with. Think of like Buff Llama, for example.
Mhm.
Good example of like a Bears fan who's a lot of fun to interact
Mhm.
with. There's
Mhm.
good ones out there for sure, and so would recommend this guy. Good dude. So
I like it, and
please
I
check
like
it out.
funny. I like funny. I was wondering why he was so Ohioan. Those Ohio folks, they don't have their own team. There's no state. I mean, they have they have college football.
What are you talking about? There's the Bengals and there's the Browns. That's 2 right
Oh
there.
wait, you're okay. That's Ohio. Well then, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry.
That's Ohio. You live there, Matt.
I'm so sorry. You can tell. You can tell I'm highly medicated tonight. Okay. I was thinking
awesome.
Iowa, my brain. I was thinking Iowa State.
Yeah, Iowa,
yeah my brain just went twisty a little.
That's different.
That's right.
Well, I mean, honestly, Don, it's 4-letter states in the Midwest with a bunch of vowels. I'm not going to
both have an O in them.
Yeah, and an I. I mean, I totally get it. So
thank you for your grace. Oh my gosh, yeah. Like my friend Paul, the Vikings fan, who a lot of Packers fans following.
We like that guy. He's funny too.
Yeah, Farrington. I think he's from Boston or New York.
Oh, is he? I don't think I knew
that. I think he says Farrington, not Farrington. So I think he's Boston.
He does go.
Possibly, I could be wrong. Mm-hmm. Medicated, yeah. More than usual. I've got a combination spider bite that still hurts like all get out from over a week ago. I'm going to go to the doctor tomorrow. And then a pinched nerve in my back, which might be from the spider bite because I was limping, like using my leg. Yeah, that would be my guess. It wasn't putting weight on that ankle.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. That's how it works. The knee bone's connected to the... Anywho, so I'm going to go have it looked at. It's been over a week. It's like, okay, there's still a big lump and it's still like internal bleeding. There's less swelling and it's not like like the bruise was like a foot like long. It's now more like 6-7 inches. So it is shrinking, but it's still actively bleeding. I can tell. No, it wasn't. Joe.
So the cat hired a spider assassin to take Dawn out. Yes. Collusion. Conspiracy.
You guys have me so paranoid. Tosh really likes to be close to me, like really close to me. And she gets right in my face. And sometimes I look at her and I'm like, she could just bite my face.
Yep, just to take you out right there.
She's never done it. She's never done it. She mostly just wants to cuddle. But
for now,
I know.
Stay on her good side. Keep giving her treats.
Well, she's 3. She's 3. She's 3. Oh, checking to see if I'm breathing. I slept because I haven't felt well this week. I slept one day until 11:30, so almost noon. Right. I was surprised. I felt so much better because I felt crummy. And I just was like, oh my gosh, that made all the difference in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't wake up with a headache because that bite got me sick. And she's so good, my cat. She doesn't wake me up. A lot of people, their cats wake them up like all night and whatever. She never has done that, even when she was a little tiny kitten like this big. If I was sleeping, I'd wake up and I'd look and she'd be just like looking at me. And so she has this hanging house that I have in the bedroom area. I call it her bungalow. It's a 2-story. And I woke up at like 11:30 and I knew it must have been late because just the lighting and everything. And I looked and she's in her bungalow just staring at me, like just waiting for me to wake up. Like, are you alive? I think she thought maybe I was dead.
No, she's being polite. She's being, patient. She's
very polite. She's the most polite cat you'd ever want to know. She's just really something else that way. Anyway.
Cats are not known for being polite, so there you go.
She's good. She's a good girl.
Cat. Good cat.
Good kitty. Good kitty. She'll be 3 in July, so she's heading toward the 3. So she's over her terrible 2s and all that. So I don't think she's going to kill me. I don't think she's going to hurt me.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you've probably proven yourself to be like, indispensable enough to her. That's like, she's probably, I was thinking about it at this point. Maybe not in my own best interest to actually kill my owner, my person, my human. So that's
right. That's right. I still toy. it still occurs to me that she needs another cat instead of just
Hmm.
me
Hmm.
because she's so like like so clingy, and I don't love that, but and I'm not going to get another cat right now. I just, yeah, I don't think I probably ever won't because once she's 4, I don't know, that could be a disaster. But she would love another cat to play with for sure.
Yeah, I get
She
that.
would, yeah, she would love that. Because when I had Pepe here, they were tumbling around and running
Hmm.
around. It was crazy, and that's how it was with my deer hounds. Of course, not in the house with the deer hounds. It was out on acreage and stuff.
Right.
But
Yeah.
they were wild. They would like up in the air, crazy. It like having horses go after each other. So fun. Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, Maddie, I'm just happy about the draft. I know it's a
Yeah.
week out. Not really. It's not a week from Saturday, but I can't wait to see these guys head into Lambeau this
Oh,
week.
I know. It's gonna be a rookie mini camp. I'm excited to see some pictures, maybe some little snippets from the beat, you know? Yeah.
Hmm. They're going to have their first plane. Well, maybe not their first, but maybe their second ride into the Green Bay airport
Hmm.
as players this time.
Yeah. Not as just people
As
visiting, not as top ticket
right.
visits. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Zadarius Smith talking about when he flew in the first time as a player and how everybody just cheered for him and took care of him and
Oh, I love that.
yeah. So I was kind of envisioning that for all the rooks. Probably coming in like Sunday night, I would guess, or maybe on the weekend. Yeah, so they're all ready for Monday.
Hmm.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Hey, did we ever find out what happened to Matt LaFleur's arm?
The rumor I heard was that it was like a workout accident or something, but it's nothing super serious. I guess it's kind of what I heard.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
should,
Well,
should
he
be
had it in a sling.
should be an
So,
easy recovery. So
oh,
yeah.
Iowa Joe says rookies are already checking in. Oh,
Um,
cool. I love it.
Already checking in. That's
And
cool.
he said Tosh needs a dog partner. I have thought about that, but I definitely don't want a dog to take care of.
Joe's seconding what I said here. Joe's saying thinks that he tore his pec doing bench presses, from what I heard. It's workout
Ouch.
accident. Yeah, I know.
Ouch.
That's why you shouldn't do bench presses, right there. That's why you shouldn't.
I've hurt my pecs and that's painful. I've never
Yeah.
torn my pec, but
Oof.
just straining it, is hard. It hurts a lot. He seemed really subdued for the press conference after the draft. He was probably in pain
Or on drugs. Who knows?
or medicated like me.
Lots of doubters.
Probably medicated. All right, Maddie, any final thoughts before we bring her on home?
Oh, I guess I'll just say, I was talking about it being such a fire hose of content right now, and how, the flip side is that soon it won't be, because the people who have done all their, analyses and their deep
Hmm.
dives, and that'll all be kind of back to the slow season soon enough. So I think I remember saying this in years past that, like, well, it can feel overwhelming for the regular, content consumers out there. Just remember, the stuff that's being produced right now is timeless, at least for a couple
Hmm.
months. So, like,
Exactly.
don't feel like you have to like gobble it all down and get a stomach ache. Rather parse it out. This isn't a sprint to get all this stuff right now. It's more of the marathon of just being like a content camel to like let it last through the dry spell. That was a lot of metaphors I was throwing together, but suffice to say, just take it at your own pace, because there's a lot out there, a lot of good information, a lot of good people doing amazing content.
For sure.
And to that end, I was going to say, I almost thought one of my superlatives be like just best overall sort of recaps and stuff like that, but I couldn't decide who it was, so I just ditched that idea. But you
Yeah.
got all kinds of people, and
So
I will say
many.
one of my favorites that I've been really like leaning on, it has been Andy Herman's stuff,
Hmm.
but it almost feels like a slight to other people to only mention him for that, because so many people are doing great work with it. But anyhow,
Right.
yeah, those are my last
Yeah.
thoughts.
I'm with you. And on that, my last thought is I am definitely was thinking about that same thing that's not time sensitive, and this content can be consumed throughout the next 3 months until we get ready for the season. And that is going to be what I'm going to be doing, like
Yep.
taking it in bits and pieces, so that I know I can really digest
Yeah,
all of
exactly.
it. So I won't
Exactly.
gobble. I will eat slowly and digest properly.
Small bites.
All right, Maddie. Well, let's bring her on home.
Yeah, and just real fast before I do, I want to say thanks to our friend Joe, who's been hanging in the chat the whole time, contributing. Appreciate you, Joe. Folks,
Yes.
Joe has great stuff he does over on the Ohana Packers Edition sort of a network they have there. So check out their stuff. Check out, Joe's writing, Joe's podcasting, the stuff he does with Mike Kawana, the stuff that other people do there. So OPE, Ohana Packers Edition. Check it out, folks. So to bring it home, Don, friends, we'd love to have a chance to interview you and shout you out if you're a subscriber and a football fan. If you'd like to nominate someone to be a guest on our podcast, please let us know. Our DMs are open on all the social platforms. And folks, when you subscribe to our podcast, you help us to keep spreading the love in our community. And the best way to help this podcast grow is by sharing it with your friends and family.
Yes, Maddie, that's right. Because we love you. We're so glad to know you, to be fans of you, and have the luxury of being fans of the most storied team in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
We appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and sharing our pod. And we look forward to seeing you next week on
Hey, we like your pod.
Football in general comes down to discipline and people owning their roles. And when you aren't disciplined or you go outside the scheme, bad stuff happens.